Listen to me. I'm one of the credit cards in your wallet. I'm about to explode and pop like a balloon. You're using me and my brothers way too much. Your credit cards aren't the only ones annoyed. It's your paycheck that doesn't have enough to pay everything. Save your credit cards, your paycheck, and yourself a lot of PAIN. Pain. Call the debt helpline now, not tomorrow, right now. Our experts will show you how you can cut your interest rates and your payments on your credit cards in half. Credit card companies have special assistance programs designed to help you. Make this 100% free call right now and learn how you could get out of credit card debt. Here's the number.
800-915-6831. 800-915-6831. 800-915-6831. That's 800-915-6831. Paid for by Zero Debt.
It's the Sunday Chronicle on Stacks 92.1. It's the Sunday Chronicle. We gon' give the news and keep you up to date. From crimes to the politics, you gon' know what's up about your way. We give 2 thumbs up to everyone out here doing their thing. We gon' show man love to all the ones working hard in communities. It's the Sunday Chronicle.
Good morning and welcome to the Sunday Chronicle. I'm your host, Yanice Carter, coming to you from Stacks 92.1 FM. This is the platform for community because community knows what community needs. I'd like to thank all of my listeners and all of my followers for being here again. Bright and early on this Sunday morning. We could not do it without you. And this would normally be the segment where I thank my co-host for being here, but he's not here today. He did set me up, but he has some other things to do, but he'll be back on the next episode, y'all. And so we're going to pivot and we are going to talk about my special guest, why he is here today. We are talking to Mr. Leon Stokes. Thank you for being here today. Now, it's D. Leon, right?
Yes.
Okay, so do you like to go by Leon?
Yeah, I've always gone by my middle name.
Middle name. Okay, yeah. Is it Dennis?
Dennis Leon Stokes.
Dennis Leon. Okay. Well, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
And I'm so excited to talk about your books more in detail. So just to start, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about you, your background, where you're from, and how it led to these books and your mentorship and leadership in the community.
Okay, I'm a son of Lansing. I grew up here in Lansing. My parents moved up from the South in 1950 to raise their family. So I'm the youngest of 5 children. I've got 3 older sisters and an older brother. And we all grew up here in Lansing. We're all graduates of schools here in Lansing. Okay. I went to General Motors Institute after high school. I got my engineering degree, and later I got a master's degree at Oakland University. I worked for General Motors for 41 years. I just retired in 2020. And that gave me some insights into a lot of things as relates to learning leadership, how to treat people, so on and so forth. And a lot of those things came from the first book, that being Are the Kids Okay?, which is a testament to my father, a tribute to my father.
Okay. But you're not really retired because you're doing the writer thing. So you're in your second career.
I'm retired from General Motors.
Okay.
And now I'm doing some of the things that bring me some enjoyment that I never really had time to do when I was working for GM. So
how does that feel to actually have time to pursue that and, spend time with your loved ones? What is that like?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a wonderful feeling. And that's one of the things I kind of allude to in my second book, that being 50 Things to Do in a Lifetime, is you need to find those things and find time to pursue those things that are going to add more fulfillment to your life. One of the things I stressed in that book is that we're here for a finite amount of time.
Yes.
God has blessed us with so many years. We don't know how many that is, but it's incumbent upon us to find a way to make our lives more fulfilling and more meaningful, not just for us, but also for those people that we engage with and for our community as a whole.
So when did you decide, I want to write a book? Was that something from a young age or was it just more recent?
That's a good question. I never had the plan of becoming an author. A few years prior to my retirement, I started thinking about writing a book in honor of my father. We lost him in 1995. And I started thinking about, I want to do something because he was so influential in me deciding what kind of man I wanted to be, that I wanted to do something to pay tribute to him. So I started thinking about the book. And then when I retired, again, I had the time, I started writing the book. I retired right in the midst of COVID in 2020.
Oh, wow.
And the day after my retirement is when I started working on the book.
Well, that's a good time. That was a good time.
Had a lot of time on it.
Now, what was your father's name?
John Stokes.
John Stokes. Tell me a little bit about John.
John Stokes is a great man. He was born in Robinsonville, Mississippi. His family moved to Turl, Arkansas when he was still a young boy. That's where he met my mother. And, the whole romance thing. And, they fell in love. And, he knew early on that that was the woman that he wanted in his life because she touched him in a certain way. And so they were able to, make a move in 1950 to come up to Michigan, again, looking for a better way of life. Things were tough in the South, particularly that part of the South in the 20s and 30s, even into the 40s for African Americans. So they were looking for a better way of life. And that's what led my father up here. He didn't have the opportunity to finish school because like so many during that time and in that place, he had to quit to work to help the family. But my father was probably one of the smartest men I knew because he could just figure anything out.
I really admire the pathways of, those are the shoulders that we stand on.
Absolutely.
Right? I hear these stories and they just inspire me. How, you said your parents were sharecroppers or your father's a sharecropper, correct?
His family, yeah.
The whole and so after that, they moved north. Their entire family, you guys moved north, right?
Yeah, at that time, it was just my father and my mother and my oldest sister.
Yeah.
And the rest of us were born here.
Oh, born here. Okay. Yeah. But even and still to come like all the way from the South to the North, looking for a better life and not knowing what to expect and building an entire life and legacy through that move. Yeah. I really admire that courage.
Absolutely. And my dad, he was not going to be denied in terms of making a better life. Family was very, very important to him. He had a lot of dreams, but more important to him was taking care of his family and positioning myself and my siblings in such that we could reach our dreams and we could do what we wanted. So he was a pretty remarkable man. And like I said, he's the one who helped me decide what kind of man I wanted to be. Just kind of watched and observed how he treated people and how he interacted with people.
Were you very close to your siblings?
Yeah, very much so.
Very much so. And even still?
Yeah, even so.
Very good.
We're very, very close-knit family.
So how do you guys inspire each other as far as career paths or?
Yeah, not so much. We all kind of went in a different direction in terms of our careers, but there's always been a very supportive thread, if you will, that runs through it. Whatever. I always say my brother, Colonel Stokes, was probably my PR agent because he was probably the biggest supporter of the things that I was doing as I was growing up. I was his little brother. I was a couple years behind him. Okay. But everything I did, be it in sports or whatever, he was always a very, very big supporter, of everything I do. And that goes for my sisters as well. They were always very, very supportive. And I think, to kind of give them their due, I probably benefited from it more than the others because I was the youngest. Okay. And everybody, it seems like all of them wanted to make sure that, I got the support that I needed for whatever it was I was doing. So I'll always appreciate them for that.
So back to the COVID, the pandemic, you were just retired from GM.
Correct.
And you started to write this book. Now tell me your process, because I think that's a big thing for people wanting to write. Like, how did you get started personally? Like, did you just start from page one? Was it more of, I'm going to type these pages?
This is my process. And I'm not sure if it's, traditional or the way other authors would do it. But for me, I kind of knew what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it. What I wanted to do was kind of capture the life lessons that I got from my father. And so the way I wrote the book is, as I got information about his early life, from stories I had heard, talking with relatives and stuff, I started writing about those things that he had to go through and things that he learned from that. The way I structured those chapters, and it's really the first 3 chapters in that book, the way I structure them is I describe what he experienced. And then at the end of the chapter, I had a section that I call the lesson. And it kind of describes the lesson that he learned from what he experienced. That same thing kind of followed in the latter chapters, except they were from my perspective, his son observing him, and things I learned from observations. But again, I would describe what I learned and then the observation that led to the lessons. And so we'll describe the lesson that. For me, I just started writing once I knew that. And I figured I was going to do several rewrites. And
was it notepad or was it typing?
I was typing.
Okay.
Yeah. But for me, and that's, I've been asked a few times from people who want to start writing a book. And for me, I think it's important to just start writing, get the stuff down.
Yeah.
And then you can always go back and refine it and change it. So that's what worked for me.
So that was your first book. And then how long after that did you move into 50 Things to Do in a Lifetime? Yeah,
50 Things just came about last year in 2025.
Okay, so you published that one in 2025.
I published 50 in 2025. I published the other one in 21.
Yes, okay. So with 50 Things to Do in a Lifetime, you're describing some of the things that you want to do and why?
That's part of it. And that's where it started. After my 65th birthday, I kind of started thinking about the fact that in all reality, I've got more years behind me than I've got in front of me. And I'm thinking about, so what do I want to do with whatever time the Lord has blessed me with, to remain on this earth? And so I started thinking about places I wanted to go, things that I wanted to do. And that kind of, folded in with something that my wife mentions to me from time to time. That being, we need to take advantage of opportunities to have new experiences because we never know if we're going to get that chance again. So I just started writing down things that I wanted to do, places I wanted to go. And it started growing. It kind of clicked in my mind. Other people are probably having the same thought as they reach certain parts in their lives. And it just kind of grew into a list of things. I narrowed it down to 50. And that kind of naturally formed into 5 different categories. Travel being one, personal experiences, which is the closest to a bucket list in the personal experiences. The third category being health. Fourth being professional development for those that are still in the workforce. And the fifth being personal growth and fulfillment. That is the one that focuses on doing things that helps you become a better person because you're doing things to grow yourself, but you're also doing things that impact other people.
Yeah, so more like the community service aspect of things.
Exactly.
And so tell me about some of the things that you did, you're wanting to do, because I know a few of them we discussed. The bass guitar, correct? Or was it,
yeah.
But tell me about that, how you led, or what led you to do that, and some of your top 5 or 6 things on your 50 Things to Do in a Lifetime.
Okay, and as leaning into that, I'll tell you part of the reason that I put things into different categories is they kind of drive toward that same goal of fulfillment, of life fulfillment. Travel, that's a good way for continual learning. The second category is a good way to kind of get those bucket list things that you never want to do and get lifelong experiences that you remember forever. As I mentioned, the last category, that's where you're really doing the fulfillment. Learning an instrument, for example. I learned the bass guitar. That was in that category. And there are a lot of benefits other than just the love of music that an individual can get from that. As we get older, we do, in fact, need to do things to kind of keep our brain going. There's a lot of things in terms of your cognitive functions being strengthened through music. So that's one of the benefits other than just learning how to communicate through music.
Oh, yeah, because it's the counting aspect and the math aspect.
And it also, it triggers the neurotransmitters, in your brain in a different way when you do music. Language, which is another one in that category, learning a foreign language.
Are you learning a language?
That's part of I'm still on this journey.
You're still on the journey. Okay. So what language are you interested in learning?
Well, one of them would be Spanish. Simply because it's not universal, but it's pretty broad, particularly in our country.
It is, definitely.
Because, Spanish-speaking people are, I think, the second highest,
I believe it's the second
minority in this country. So that would be one.
And so you said, I don't know if I'm recalling this correctly, Great Wall of China? Is that where you want to go?
The Great Wall of China
Yes.
is one of the things I would like to see. That's what, and I have been to China. I've been to China several occasions during my time with General Motors. But I never made it up that part. Most of my time was spent in Shanghai and in some of the surrounding cities to Shanghai. So I never made it up by Beijing and to the wall.
Okay.
But I'm going to get there one day.
Are you going to maybe like Eiffel Tower? Is that one
Eiffel
of them?
Tower
Eiffel Tower
is one of the ones as well.
And then I'm trying to think another, Mount Rushmore. That's a good one.
Actually, that's not on my list.
That's not on your list? Okay.
But it's in the book as a part of my suggestion that you travel to each of the 50 states.
Yeah.
Because each of the 50 states has something specific to offer. Mm-hmm. And so for South Dakota, Mount Rushmore is one of the things.
Yeah, that's a cool place. I actually went there, and it's a really, really great sight to see. So I'm looking at your books here. Tell me the pages in each of them, because this one looks really thick, the 50. Yeah,
the first one is 127, and this one is about 3 times as long. Mm-hmm. So it's over 300 pages.
Well, so I see that. That is amazing. Yeah. So I want to congratulate you on your author journey.
Thank you.
And so we talked about these 2 wonderful titles here, and I want you to tell people how they can connect with you, Leon, how they can get your book, what formats are available. So let us know so we can connect with you and so we can get these wonderful books.
Okay. One way is to my website, dlstokespublishing.com. Mm-hmm. That's dlstokespublishing.com. There you can not only get additional background information on both of the books, background information on myself in terms of some of my biography, but you can also purchase the books on the website. They're also available at Amazon.com.
Okay.
Both of them are available at Amazon.com. They're available in ebook format as well as paper book.
Okay.
Are the Kids Okay? Is also available in audiobook format.
And those are available on your website.
Yeah, you can get to them from my website. Everywhere you can get directly from my website.
Okay.
Or you can go directly to Amazon, and that'll get you there as well.
So dleonstokes.com. We're going to direct you.
dlstokespublishing.com.
dlstokespublishing.com. So you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Please support Mr. Leon Stokes. He has these 2 wonderful titles, and, we need to know what we need to do in a lifetime. So we need to look through this book, and we need to support him in these wonderful books. Also, if you want to connect with Leon, you can also reach him on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. What is your handles on Facebook?
At DL Stokes.
At DL Stokes.
Excuse me, at D. Leon Stokes.
At D. Leon Stokes.
Same for Instagram.
Okay, and the same for Instagram and LinkedIn if you would like to reach out. And also we're going to have a nice article about Leon and in the Chronicle, as well as on our website, so you can find out more about Leon. Thank you again for being here today, Leon.
It was my pleasure.
I appreciate you. And we are looking forward to that 3rd title.
We'll see.
Yeah, look, we're looking forward to that, and we're looking forward to some updates. So you can come back here and tell us about your journey to the Great Wall or Paris or wherever life leads you next.
I would love to. I look forward to it.
So thank you so much. And we're going to take a short break, but not before reminding my listeners that this is Yanice Carter, host of the Sunday Chronicle, heard every Sunday morning on Stax 92.1 FM. This is the platform for community, because community knows what community needs. We'll be back after this.
What is Recover Now? It's a movement to get clean and sober, started by you, friends and family members, or maybe even the person suffering from an alcohol or drug problem. Recover Now is a free service that helps people find treatment facilities covered by private insurance to help them start the road to recovery and succeed. If you or a loved one wants to recover now, call this number. It's a free call. Many of our treatment counselors have been exactly where you are, and they know what you're going going through and how to help you get where you want to be. And that is on the road to recovery. With one free phone call, my specialist will check your insurance and help you get the best treatment for your needs. Remember, get clean, get sober. Use Recover Now as your free service. Here's the number.
800-936-5087. 800-936-5087. 800-936-5087. That's 800-936-5087.
I'm in my late 60s. My husband died a few years ago. He did all of our taxes. I sold a piece of property last year, and I forgot to claim the proceeds of the sale. Next thing I know, I got a letter from the IRS telling me that I owe over $50,000. Now I have a huge tax problem. I don't have that kind of money. I wish I knew who to call.
If you sold property in the last calendar year or didn't claim all of your part-time or even retirement income, you could be in big trouble with the IRS. Call first before they send you a letter. If you've already got a letter, call. We'll help you file years of past tax returns and save you time and money. So call the tax doctor. The call is confidential and free.
800-485-8801. 800-485-8801. 800-485-8801. That's 800-485-8801.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past 2 years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage is only $75 per month, level for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can buy $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rates for 20 years. And if you're a smoker, we have great rates for you as well. At the Term Lifeline, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. So if you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call right now for a free quote.
Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes are based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting exam required to qualify. 800-910-6034. 800-910-6034. 800-910-6034. That's 800-910-6034.
Hi, this is Yanice Carter, Chronicle News publisher and editor, host of the Sunday Chronicle, and mom. I've recently published my second book under the Chronicle Publishing Company. It's called the I Know I Can coloring book. You can get this along with my first book, Notes from the Trail. You can purchase them online at www.thechroniclenews.com, Amazon.com, and everywhere books are sold. You can get the audiobook Notes from the Trail on bookbaby.com. And welcome back to the Sunday Chronicle. I am so glad that you have stuck around because we have another wonderful guest here. My second guest for today is Mr. Michael McKissic. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. I've been waiting to speak to you for a long time, so I'm so glad you could be here today. Thank you for coming in. And so tell me a little bit about you and the organization that you're over, but I want to know about you as the man behind all of Mikey23, because I see you're so selfless, right? Mm-hmm. You are all in this, and I love what you do.
Well, thank you.
And therefore, I want to know about you.
So, I am like that. Mom and Dad taught me how to always look out for others. Mm-hmm. You know, we had a big family, mm-hmm. and so family come from South, migrated up here to Michigan.
What part?
Arkansas and Mississippi.
Arkansas. And Mom and Dad, what's Mom and Dad's names?
My dad's name is Lonnie, and my mother's name is Odell.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the migration began with them in the 50s. Mm-hmm. By them migrating in the 50s, they was one of the first family members that came up here in Lansing.
Okay.
And so by coming up here during that time, doing segregation part of it, the wages was really low down in the South, so they came up north for a better life. Mm-hmm. And so Mom and Dad was always helping out family members that wanted to come from the South up north, and they stayed with my mom and dad to get on their feet. And all the way up until my mom and dad passed away, mom in 22, dad in 23, people used to always stay with them to get on their feet. And so that's why I like to help, and I don't like to talk about myself because of that.
Okay.
Because of that. It's how they reared me up. And so having said that, me as a person, I grew up in the 60s during segregation time. I was young. I was a kid from the west side of Lansing. And the west side of Lansing was the village back then.
Yeah.
You know, people say that our African proverb, I lived that village. Personally lived that experience. I lived that when it says that Mrs. Davis seen you doing something wrong. Mrs. Davis got on me. When I got back home, mom and dad did the same thing. So I grew up in that village before 496 came through there.
Did you go to Sexton?
No,
okay.
I did not. And so coming from that aspect, mom and dad, we had a big family. Okay. Mom and dad raised 9 of us. And so by raising a big family, you know, you didn't know that you were really poor because mom and dad made a way. There was no such thing as social service and being on welfare. They made a way. They worked.
Yeah.
And so our family and the community, we all stuck together. We helped each other. So mom and dad instilled that in me, you know, and so for me as a person, that has molded me into the person I am today.
Yes, and in service, you definitely lead with a servant's heart. I see that. And so tell me a little bit about the organization and what's behind it all, because many people have heard the story, they've read about the story, but I want to hear from you personally about what led up to today.
August the 1st of 2015, my wife and I hit a knock at the door. You got to excuse me, I get emotional and bring it back.
Oh, of course.
So August 1st, 2015, my wife and I hit a knock at the door. My brother-in-law was knocking at the door and said, our son has been shot. We rushed down to the hospital, and there he was pronounced dead at that time. And so it really didn't hit you, you know, because and my wife and I, he lived with us. He worked for the family construction company, which is McKissic Construction, which is my dad he started it in the late 60s. And so when you hear that knock at that door, you don't know how to deal with that, you know, that emotions, because you got to realize too, my culture and my family, men was supposed to be men. We're not supposed to cry, and we're not supposed to share our emotions and stuff. And so I didn't know how to deal with that. And so coming from the culture that we came from, you know, it was kind of hard to deal with that. And I'm talking about, I got 3 other kids and then my wife and everything. So wrapped up in one, how do we deal with the loss of our son and their brother? How do you deal with that? And my mom and dad, you know, because Michael was very close to my mom, very close to them. You know, mom, he was so close that, you know, because we built their house out in the country back in the 70s, right? And he used to drive out there almost every other Friday because it was fish on Friday. My dad and mom cooked fish, so he'd go out there and spend that time with them and everything. So he's very close to them. So when it happened, it broke my mom's heart. And it really, really broke me. She loved all her grandkids, but it really broke her heart, you know, because of the closeness that she had with him. And so we knew that right then and there because Michael had no kids. He had no kids. And so we wanted to keep his legacy alive. And we really didn't realize, and I always tell parents this, I'll tell parents this that they can hear my voice, always instill good in your kids. Because what happens is you may not see what you're instilling in that child, but people around your child will see that. And that's what Michael was. He was always a giving child. You know, there are numerous of stories that came to me after he was murdered, that people came and found me and talked to me about what they did for what he did for them. And so we wanted to start a foundation in his name to honor his name, to help people take all these older houses in the city of Lansing and make them the best looking house in Lansing. You know, our model is always simple. When we started, instead of picking up a gun to commit gun violence, pick up a hammer, build up a community. So that's what we've been doing since 2015. That's
very good. Very good work. Because when I think about what you said, it's so much easier to tear something down. Yeah. So it's wonderful that you are turning something that was very tragic, is tragic still, and using that experience to pour into others. And that's what I see. With that, what does healing look like for you today?
Every day is a struggle. Every day is a struggle. You got to realize, too, so the normal of things is that parents get older, children bury their parents.
Yes.
But we as parents are not supposed to bury our kids. And so when Michael was murdered, dealing with that, we go through Mother's Day, we go through Father's Day, we go through his birthday, and coming up this August 1st, we deal with that particular day as well, which is the day that he was murdered. And so the healing process is an ongoing process that probably will last to the rest of our family's life because of that, because there are still signs of Michael.
Yes.
There's still signs around the house of Michael. There's still signs within looking at his siblings because they look alike. There's still signs of the things that he has done and left his legacy, what he's done. And so that healing process is a lifetime thing. And I tell people that when you have that struggle with dealing with losing a loved one like that, you have to dealing with and starting the Mikey23 Foundation is part of our healing process. For sure.
When did you start it exactly?
He was murdered August 1st, 2015. We started it that next month.
Oh, the next month.
Oh yeah. We wanted to keep his legacy alive. We literally our family got together, and this was what we wanted to do.
And so this murder still remains unsolved.
It is.
But yet, through this program, you've been able to have some closure. Somewhat. So the case is still unsolved. We started off with $5,000, and it's all the way up to $75,000 now. But no one's coming forward. So we have a generation of kids right now that they don't want to say anything to be labeled as a snitch. Right.
And what I tried to do, so I did a campaign about 6-7 years ago. I started a campaign, the word snitch, right? And if you look at the word snitch, it's basically for us, we try to instill in our kids, it's strong neighbors involved together create hope. That's the word snitch, right? So that's what we're trying to instill in our kids, because you think about it though. So if you don't say nothing in your neighborhood, you see something's going on. If Mrs. such and such across the street is getting robbed, do you just go about your business?
Right.
No, you got to report that. So a few things have happened, in our neighborhood. That's why I'm so involved in my own neighborhood. I get involved in my own neighborhood mainly because once I know all those kids, because it's how I was reared, and little situations have happened because of that. Strong neighbors involved together create hope.
Yes.
And I've dealt with kids that have done something in the community that they came to me, and we solved that. We solved that situation because of that. Is that relationship building over the period of years?
And so now, through your work, you have this legacy, with your son. And not just that, but the city of Lansing and the state of Michigan is recognizing August 1st as Mikey23 Day, which is a phenomenal.
Yes, we're grateful for that.
Tell me about that. Tell me how that makes you feel.
So it was a surprise by the mayor that he says, we want to proclaim Michael's Day, Mikey23 Day. And so instead of when August 1st comes up, when the day that he was murdered, we celebrate Michael. That's part of the healing process as well. And so when you have the mayor proclaiming Mikey23 Day, and then you have the state of Michigan doing the same thing, this is part of his legacy,
Yes.
And I want the people to remember Michael as such, what type of a young man he was. So much so that, we started a scholarship in Michael's name as well. We started a scholarship, and the kids have to write an essay on how they would stop the violence in the community. And the last two winners are they are 10 of U of M, and both of them, they're twins, and so they split the scholarship and stuff like that. And they have to write how would they stop the violence in the community, because sometimes and what we're dealing with, you have to realize what we're dealing with as a community, because we're older adults. the kids, the gun violence happen between their ages. So their kids, they know what's going on in the community, and so therefore they'll have answers more so than we will have. Sure.
Okay. So there are going to be a lot of people listening, and so I know you want to promote this special day. So this is going to be something annually, correct? That
correct.
You want to have a celebration
That's right.
of life.
That's right.
For Mikey.
That's right.
And as we close out, because our time is growing near, what do you think Mikey would say? Or how? What do you think he would think of what's going on today? The legacy, the program, the things that have come, out of his passing.
Oh, he would have been very excited. Very excited. And so for me, I would think that Michael would, because he know how mom and dad reared me, and this is how we reared him. The kid will be, very excited and very thankful for that someone is keeping his name alive and his legacy alive for sure.
And so before we close out, if someone wants to get a hold of you and learn more about the program, Mikey23 Day, or just get to you in general, what's your website, contact information, so we can get a hold of you?
Real simple, Mikey23Foundation.org. MIKEY23Foundation.org.
Mikey23Foundation.org, and you can find that on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and all of that, the same handle. So I want to thank you for being here today. Thank you so much, and I hope that you will come back.
Would do. I would love to.
Thank you so much. And everyone, please support this organization and Mikey23 Day on August 1st. We want you to come out and celebrate the life of Mikey and all of the wonderful things that he did, and through his life he still continues to do.
Thank you.
And I want to thank Span for being here as well.
Just for the second half. Sorry, people.
Right. Y'all didn't even know he was here because he was so quiet. That's not like him.
It was difficult. My allergies are acting up. I didn't want to have my scratchy voice all the time.
And then I think he was actually listening this time. He was enjoying the he didn't want to, break up the flow. Probably.
I mean, with that deep voice, how can you?
He got his Keith Sweat on up in here.
You got to do the hip swivel and the rock left to right, too. You got to do it.
Yes, and before we close, I also want to thank my listeners and followers for being here once again on the Sunday Chronicle. I'm your host, Yanice Carter, coming to you from Stax 92.1 FM. This is the platform for community, because community knows what community needs. Make it a great day.